Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of This Needs to Be Said. I am your host, Mr. CJ Jones, Mr. TNTBS. And today I have a very, very special guest with me, a very good friend of mine, political analyst, pretty much sports commentator in his own right, comedian, actor, the whole nine. Yeah, what else am I missing? His name, right? Okay. This is my man, my bro, my brother from another mother, Mr. Brian Parker from Empowered. How you doing, sir?
Good. How's it going?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for joining me on this special episode. I thank you for taking out the time to just chop it up with me today. Today, I'm just going to try to keep it light. I am just really, really like beside myself. It turned out today what I want to be talking about is the results of the midterm elections. And so just to bring people up to speed as to who you are and what you do, I don't, I'm going to just basically open up the floor to you to introduce you to the Ellie watchers out there and let them know about your show and what you run and what I do on your show. And then we'll pick it up from there.
Yeah. So every Thursday at 6 o'clock, we have our show that streams live on LinkedIn, YouTube, as well as Facebook. Empower TV Network presents Head to Head with Brian Parker. And we get into it. We talk about what's going on in the world. We talk about how politics plays a part. I'm a realist. So I go head to head with everybody and get very direct in the fact that whether you want to admit it or not, politics is basically interwoven in so much of our daily lives, whether we choose to recognize its existence or not. So there are so many political implications on the air you breathe, the water you drink, the people that represent you, your schools, your funding for schools, just all kinds of things in this world. The price of gas, people are always talking about gas. People are always talking about inflation. People are always, talking about how different laws are implemented and things like that. Those are all based on politics. So whether you are this overly political junkie like I am, or whether you're just kind of more of a innocent bystander, we kind of expose a lot of those things and encourage our viewers to be more engaged and, most importantly, continue to vote and make your voices heard so that those that we put in power are looking out for our interest and not special interest in their own.
Absolutely. And with that being said, especially towards the latter part of what you were saying about the power of our vote, evidently, the message seemingly to be getting across. Because there was supposed now correct me if I'm wrong, but
yeah.
I'm pretty confident in this one. There was supposed to be a red wave.
Yes.
And in some people actually said a tsunami.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be such an overtake from the Republican conservative side of the House to where not only were they supposed to take the Senate, they were supposed to take the House, as well as other offices like governors and stuff like that. It was just supposed to be just this overwhelming of conservatorship everywhere.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say, yeah, and a lot, if you've heard this expression before that the best indicator of what's going to happen is looking at what has happened before.
Oh, yeah.
And what's traditionally happened is that the party that isn't in power has the opportunity in the midterm elections to gain a lot of seats and everything, because they can just basically run against the party that's in power and basically go to you and say, hey, everything that you don't like, everything that's wrong is because they're in power. See what happens when you hand them the keys. They don't know how to drive. So give us a chance to drive. And a lot of times that works. So normally when you have, say, for instance, the Democrats controlling the House and the Senate as narrowly as a margin as they do, and then you've got a Democrat in the White House, historically speaking, there should have been a change of 15 to 20 to 25 seats in the U.S. Congress.
Statistically, yeah.
You're right.
Absolutely.
And it should have been, and there should have been a potential change of 2 to 3 seats in the U.S. Senate.
Right.
But there were so many outliers in this election that pretty much fought against what you would consider political norms. A lot of it was self-inflicted wounds because the Republican Party has become very deaf and not listening to the constituents out there. They're trying to force women into have forced pregnancies and things like that. And when you look at some of the earlier elections, even in Kansas and other states, where they basically shot down that idea, and Kansas is by no means a blue state at all, but they rejected the fact that you're going to say in one instance, I don't want to put on a damn mask because of my freedom and my rights, but it's up to us because of our religious views to be able to tell you whether or not you can keep a pregnancy or not.
Right.
So a lot of their issues fell on deaf ears because even conservative people don't consider that a popular thing. They did a lot of these things. Then a lot of them still wanted to litigate the 2020 election because they were being backed by Donald Trump. Once again, Donald Trump caused Republicans to lose the Senate in 2020, especially when you consider Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff in Georgia in the runoff, where he sat there and basically told people that you can't trust the ballots, don't go vote, which basically handed a majority Senate to Chuck Schumer as a majority leader and the other Democrats.
Yes.
So Trump now throws his hat in the ring for so many prominent Republicans that were coming up wanting to litigate elections being stolen. They were election liars. I don't call them deniers. They were election liars.
Right.
And a lot of people said, you know what? I've heard that. You brought no proof. You keep crying about the same thing. We need to move forward. And all y'all want to do is keep looking backwards. And everybody of significance that he supported actually lost.
Yeah. And now that was the other funny part, because in other words, they doing all this prophesying, like even in the Episcopal, evangelistic churches and stuff, same old mega preachers, same old, but this time you even had Coleman's daughter, calling for angels this time. Okay. Listen, I told you we're gonna keep it light. We're gonna keep it light.
No doubt.
Calling on her angels. I mean, maybe her angels were a little different. I don't know, but evidently they were busy. So, and instead of them just taking this L as men and women should, and just being like, okay, you got some delusional woman. I forget who she was the news anchor on Fox.
Carrie Lake from Arizona.
Being like having this whole cliche of like, no, I didn't lose.
Yeah, she's doing to say she's a Trump disciple. I don't know if she's a Trump disciple or somebody that mimics Trump in every single way. I mean, the way that she approaches elections and the way she approaches the media, being the enemy of the people and dishonest. She basically ran Trump's playbook. And if she had been watching the last 2 elections, that playbook does not work.
Well, she was. Okay, see, that's the thing. And that's and that's the elephant I wanted to expose on this show. That is the very definition of insanity.
Yes.
When you are continually to do the same thing over and over and over again, but you're expecting a different result. The reason why they lost, this is my opinion, but and of course you can put the fine tuning on it. It's to the very thing that you were saying earlier, just a few minutes ago.
Yeah,
they were running on the same old tactic: fear.
Yeah,
people are after a while you get tired of being afraid.
Yeah,
think about it. Like whenever you was a kid, if you was afraid of the dark or you was afraid to go down the street or something like that, eventually you just have this bump it attitude. If I live, I live. If I die, I die. But I'm gonna walk down the street, or in other words, I'm gonna get over this fear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so then you say, oh, crime. Crime happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, you gonna let a murderer is getting out, or a rapist getting out, or whatever.
Well, see, CJ, here was the other problem with that. They brought up a lot of different issues that in regular years they could have been able to win on. Oh, we got inflation. Oh, we have crime. We have all these other issues going on, and blame the Democrats. The problem is Republicans hung their hat solely on saying what the issue was, but offering no solutions on how they would do any better with it.
Boom.
What you need to say is, hey, inflation is bad under Joe Biden, but if you give us the keys, these are the things that we would institute that would knock down inflation. They offer no solutions. People start to see through that. The other thing about inflation is that whether they want to admit it or not, inflation is a global issue. It is not a United States issue.
Really?
So they creep away from those facts, because then they would have to acknowledge, well, wait a minute, unless Joe Biden is the president of the world,
Well, exactly.
he cannot solely control inflation, because whether they want to believe in this America first bullcrap, bull jive that they always expiring for, the things that we do in America are linked to the things that happen all over the world, because we are in a global market and global economy.
Exactly.
It's the same thing as gas prices when they sit there and talk about, well, Joe Biden's closing down the Keystone Pipeline. That's why the gas prices went up, which is so ignorant.
You cannot blame no one person for any of that. But
most people think, unfortunately, that because we have gas in America, it stays in America. They're very ignorant and do not realize that when BP, Shell, and all these other companies drill on private grounds in the United States of America, they are capitalists. They sell their oil and resources all over the world.
Everywhere.
So just because you open up more drilling explorations in America, it does not stay in America. We do not have nationalized gas.
No.
But if you ask a lot of the red states, people in those red states, they truly believe that gas is drilled in America and it stays in America. And the reason that the prices are high is because Joe Biden keeps closing down pipelines, which is totally not true.
And so the cherry on top for me was this whole red on red finger pointing.
Oh yeah.
Bro, oh my God. I couldn't click on one video fast enough from the other one video popping up. Geraldo getting into it with his constituent. You had DeSantis, not DeSantis, Ted Cruz pointing
Josh Hawley.
I mean, I was
Rick
like,
Scott. Yeah.
Just like
everybody's looking to finger point and figure out who to blame.
Is nobody's looking at themselves.
Is it Mitch McConnell? It can't be Mitch McConnell, because Mitch McConnell said back in August that candidate quality should matter. And he knew that there were a bunch of psychos and lunatics out there that were running for these Secretary of States, governorships, and things like that.
See what it was. This is what happens when you actually give power over to a fool.
Correct.
Now you have to try to take the power back. But here's the thing. Even if you get rid of the fool, now we're going to get a little focused on this. Now you have the ideology. And the ideology is the thing that is the hardest to get rid of, because now it's implanted.
Correct.
That seed is implanted. So yes, let's just say Trump will never go back into the presidential office. I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about now is the ideology of Trump, those Trumpites.
Yes. Yeah.
And especially the young ones.
You don't need the actual figure anymore. You just have enough people now that have been unleashed to be Trump 2.0, Trump 3.0, so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
Correct. You don't need him anymore, because he basically is Moses. He got you to the promised land. Now you can die. We got it from here.
Exactly.
And that's what's going on. You're absolutely right, where Now he has unleashed all the lunatics and psychos where they can say, okay, Trump, thanks for kicking the door in. We got it from here.
And that's why they don't mind kicking against him a little bit.
Yeah, because they're forward looking, and you got to realize the Republican Party is always about opportunities. Trump was used because of the impact that he has on the base.
Right.
Once they can start to see that the base is wavering and moving from him, and that they're looking forward to Ron DeSantis and others in the party as the future, then they're going to start to move. Even Fox News, when Trump announced last night that he was going to run again, their head story was Florida man makes announcement.
And they had him on
that was their heading,
a bottom blue banner. That right there, I was like,
they wouldn't even say his name, and they wouldn't even say what the announcement was.
Did you notice the look on Don Lemon's face when he said? I mean, it was like he was holding back laughter the whole entire time. Like,
well, because Rupert Murdoch does not back a loser. And I mean, how many times does Trump have to attach his name to something and it dies for people to realize that this is not a winning solution? Man. And that the more and more that you mire yourself into all of that talk about 2020 and election denial, it turns people off.
It does.
And your party is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And all you're really doing is making it so that you'll never, ever win any more national elections.
Well, they got what they wanted.
Yeah.
They got what they wanted. I mean, because again, another elephant exposed. The whole reason why even Trump even became a thing was whenever he first started trying to disrespect Obama back whenever he was attending to like these luncheons and stuff and everything. And they would turn the camera towards Trump and he would have something smart to say and stuff. And then he kind of threw the idea out there that maybe he should run for president. And then people go, oh, I actually remember that.
Yeah.
And that's when it kind of started. And it was supposed to be, I guess, something like of a political joke that turned serious, because I believe it kind of shocked Trump when they actually said, no, we'll back you. And it was like, okay. But then they realized, oh, we got a monster on our hands. We can't control them. Yeah, no kidding.
Right.
Because there was nothing
when you bring somebody in that has no ideology, that can blow everywhere as the wind blows, that's a very hard thing to control, because he has no depth. He will go wherever he needs to because he's very opportunistic. At least with Republicans back in the day, whether they were Reagan Republicans or George Bush Republicans, they always talked about smaller government and, those types of things and conservatism. Well, when they brought Donald Trump in, he didn't hold any of that ideology. He didn't hold any ideology of family values or tough on, strongly with the military, tough on crime, all those things that they try to purport Democrats to be weak on. He had none of that ideology. His ideology was, wait a minute, I can make money off of this?
Yep, I can make money.
I'm down.
Yeah,
wait a minute, I can make these world leaders pay me?
Yep.
Oh, I'm down. That's his ideology. And they didn't, and they really thought by actually making him president, he could in some way become more presidential. They really thought that there was a depth to this man.
That is the elephant. That's the funny part.
That is
the funny part, because they actually convinced themselves of it.
Correct.
They were actually willing to sweep everything.
That's why when January 6th happened, a lot of them finally, it's like the light bulb finally went off and said, oh, this man crazy as hell. He's really crazy. And
like, no, he crazy.
We're all looking at them like, what else did happen before that? Did you guys not realize that this man is a lunatic?
Right.
But that really did open up a lot of them's eyes. Yes, very, very late in the game, that he's crazy. But the problem is that as much as happened on January the 6th, his base did not leave him. That's why Lindsey Graham stood on the floor and said, you know what, me and Trump, we've been rocking, but this is it, I'm done. Only to get heckled so bad at the airport 2 days later, he was back on the Trump train. Kevin McCarthy said, President Trump bears responsibility. He should have yada, yada, yada. only to see that the base did not move like he thought they would. And within a week later, he was at Mar-a-Lago kissing the ring.
That's right.
So just when they think that he's done, he's wounded, he's down and he's dead, his base still keeps him afloat. So
Right.
with him actually saying 2 years in advance that he's running for president, keep an eye on whether his base truly folds or not, because everybody knows that if his base does not fold, they consider him still to be very dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can face a primary challenger that may not win in a general election, but it will be enough to take them down. And that's what they're most afraid of.
Absolutely. And with that, we still standing by to see where Lindsey Graham is going to either kiss the ring or not, because he's actually waiting on he's waiting on Warnock and
Herschel.
Oh, is that his name? I was about to call him Sambo. Oh, okay, yeah. Anyway.
Pretty much.
Because we gonna drive our gas because we got that good emission. What? Yeah.
I'm still waiting for China's bad air to come over here so we can clean it. It's supposed to do that like every 48 hours, come over here and we get some Dawn dish detergent out and we scrub the clouds real good and make it clean, and then it goes back to China.
You know, the only good thing that I see behind Herschel Walker having a political platform is that that's going to give a whole lot of super ignorant people a lot of confidence in themselves. If he can do it, I can do it too.
Well, the whole idea of celebrity is ruining our politics, because now you don't even have to stand for anything, believe in anything. Same thing with Dr. Oz. Right. You can just sit there and be recognized as a personality, and people are so people are so lame and have no depth that they will actually follow that person, just like they did with Donald Trump, because there's somebody that they saw on their TV over and over again.
Yeah. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and put this thing to a close. B, man, I appreciate your insight, and I thank you for coming on and sharing your expertise and letting the people know who you are and what you do. And I appreciate you allowing me to be a panelist.
Yes.
On your, because I am very new to the political world. And it was because of your insight. It was because of you allow me to come to your show and just speak from the average American's point of view, because the average American really is not that politically versed.
Correct.
So, guys, if you really want to know how politics works, like we said, the bare bones of it, you know, and not trying to pull the left to the right and just calling a spade, exposing that elephant, then you need to get with my man and check out his show, subscribe to his show and everything, and educate yourselves. And also, we do have fun. We have a whole lot of fun on his show. So it's just not a whole lot of straight talk. Sometimes I don't even think we get to our topics sometimes because we clown so much.
Right.
But anyway, we just want to say thank you again, Mr. Brian Parker from Head to Head, for joining me. And with that being said, y'all, we're going to be out, okay?